Okay, so now we have all the ribbon on, and now it is going to, we're going to finish off the back of the wreath. So it doesn't matter if your ribbon is twisted at this point because we're going to move back to the front in a few minutes. We just need to work on the back. So, and it will get squished. So now is the time to kind of look to see if there's any mesh that we need to fix that's rolling the wrong direction. So this one is not going the right way. So I need to pull this over one to kind of help me kind of pull that in. So if I do that, it kind of pulls that ribbon, although it's actually not cooperating. So I'm going to flip it back over. And I'm going to twist it a bit more. Okay. So, as you can see, sometimes these give me great opportunities to show you what you might be seeing. So I basically went and repositioned the ribbon a little bit. I'm pulling this one in, and now I have this one I can tie off on. And if you notice, it really did pull that mesh more to the outside. So you can fix any of those that are like that. There is going to be some mesh that kind of rolls to the back, and that's okay, but we just don't want the whole thing really rolling in. So, excuse me, now is the time that if you happen to have wire cutters and needle nose or some needle nose pliers, they are helpful. They're not, you can do without them and still achieve the same goal. So what we're trying to do is, pipe cleaners do have wire in it, but at the ends are rough. So with the wire cutters, it will enable you to kind of shorten how much you have to tuck under. And then I just use the pliers to kind of roll it under. If you don't have them, that's fine. You can totally do this with your fingers. Just twist off, then take that end and tuck it down and under. So either way is fine. It's sometimes easier just to trim off some of this long extra stuff so I don't have as much to work with. So I'm going to go around and do that, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about adding your sign and finishing the wreath. Okay, so we've gotten all the wires tied off. We're going to flip it back to our front. And so now is kind of, you can pull any that are really going the wrong direction, so that you can kind of see where things are as far as where you might be wanting to put your sign. And if you guys remember, I kind of said that this one that's on the inside of the upper is kind of where I was targeting to add my sign. So I kind of like that. I think that's going to work out well. Now, at this point, it is important to kind of think about what's behind your sign. This is a little bit heavier sign than like a foam sign. So it will slip with time. So what we want to make sure we're doing is we're pulling out anything that's underneath where we're wanting to place our sign that we want to be seen. Because if we do it after the fact, then what's going to happen is there's going to be a gap and there's going to be more chance for slippage of that sign. So if there's a ribbon that's kind of at a corner that you want to make sure is seen, now is the time to kind of pull it out. And if there's, you can always tuck things back under once you get the sign adhered, but because that will put more tension, but if you pull out and there's more laxity, it's going to slip more. So I think I kind of like that the way it is there. Again, I can still fix my ribbon once I get the sign attached, but it's kind of giving me that placement. And I pulled out pretty much the ribbon that I want. So I like doing the sides rather than the top and the bottom. I feel like I have more control over the placement of my sign. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fishing line and I'm going to kind of tuck it in through like mesh. So right now I'm kind of going between this white mesh and this lavender. I'm going to the back side, maybe. I know this is hard to see on the videos, but I'm going to describe it as best I can in hopes to help with the clarity of what I'm doing. So I pulled it through to the back side. Now I'm going to wrap it around one of the metal bars. And the reason I'm doing this is because, again, it is a little heavier of a sign than some of them. So there can be some slippage. And what I do is I have found that if I double secure, meaning I go around the backside, come back up, and then feed that fishing line back through my original hole and pull it back to the backside, it tends to cut down on that slippage. So again, all I did was I took my fishing line, went to the backside, wrapped around one of the bars, came back up, back through the hole and back to the back. So now it's off to my side. I'm going to come over here, and now I'm kind of going between this white and pink. And again, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to feed the fishing line to the back. It doesn't matter if it's what bar you're crossing over, as long as it is a bar. And then it comes back up. And we'll go down the hole. And I will pull that back to the back side. Now, again, I do like the way this is sitting in. I do like my signs to sit kind of into the mesh, not sitting up on top. It's personal preference. So if you prefer that, you don't crank it down so tight. And so I'm going to go ahead and hold on to it, flip it over. And now I've got my two ends right here. So this one wrapped around this bar here, and this one actually went around this bar. Now, when you're going to tie this off, you don't want to tie off along this. The reason for that is because this will slide. You want to try and utilize one of these bars here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bottom one. I'm going to tuck it around that crossbar. There we go. And pull. I'm going to do the same thing with the upper one. I'm going to come down. And it doesn't matter if you use this one or this one, whatever is convenient. Shucks. Okay. So I didn't actually make it around that, but it incorporates this and it incorporates this, so it locks it in. So now I'm going to throw a couple throws. Now I'm you may not be proficient at throwing square knots, so you definitely want to throw several. I'm going to start with 2. I'm going to flip it back over and just double check to make sure I haven't cranked it down too far. And I haven't. I like where it is. So I'm going to come back and go ahead and throw a couple more throws. There we go. Maybe. Okay. Now, for good measure, you don't have to do this. I do like to do it just because I want to make doubly sure that it's not going to slide, or try and eliminate as much slippage as possible, is I wrapping it around another bar and throwing a few more throws. Again, I just feel like it helps secure the sign a bit more. And so then I'm going to trim off my extra. Caught on my shirt again. Okay. Now we're going to flip it back to the front, and I'm going to work this side. So again, I want to kind of pull out anything that I want to show and leave in anything that I'm wanting to tuck in. I do want this green to pop out. So I'm going to take this side. I'm going to pick my way down. Find a bar, wrap it around, and then feed it back up. Okay. Then I'm going to go back into the hole. There we go. And pull it to the back. Now, do the same with this guy. So I'm going to kind of come down between this mesh here. I know this is probably the most tedious part of this whole project. The good news is this is one of the final steps, so you are almost done. Okay, I know it's going through, I just can't find it there. Okay. So pull it back through the back side. I'm going to find both of them and put them in my left hand. Now, when I'm doing this side, I want to make sure it's kind of equal in my tension. Okay. Now I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to tie off on this. Again, I happen to, this one worked out well in that I do have a crossbar right kind of in the middle. So I'm going to utilize that. So my lower one is coming down. Around that cross one. Back up. Okay. And then this one I'm going to cross over. And try and feed it up through this side. Man, it's not wanting to cooperate with me. Okay, finally. All right, so now I'm going to tie it off here. Again, you may want to double check. Make sure you didn't crank it down too much or need to crank it down a little bit more. I think I'm good. Bring it back. And wrapping around one more and doing a few more throws. Again, this is probably overkill, but I just find it gives me more peace of mind. Okay, there we go. So Now at this point, you can pull out any ribbon, twist any ribbon, make sure it's showing the way you want. And you might still do this one more time when you get it up on your door. You can tuck mesh if you prefer, you know, if you want mesh to be kind of under that sign, so that maybe a particular ribbon is showing more. So this part can be tedious, depending upon how picky you are. But if you understand that it's going to keep changing, and when you get on the door, you may even see something, or the wall, you might decide you want something else showing. So I just like to make sure that the ribbons are flipped over. You can actually see it's not maybe showing the back of something. But if I wanted something to poke out more, you know, that's what you can do. So you are pretty much finished. You can hang the wreath using a wreath hanger. It's just hooking it over the bar. I do prefer to use a 3M hook. So I try to find like the midpoint, and it's actually right where this is. So I can scoot that over, and I'm going to put one of these metal in your kit. You'll have a wire that you'll use to hang, and again, if you have your wire cutters, you can use that to mold it around, but you certainly, not wire cutters, if you use your needle nose, sorry, you can use them to secure it. But basically I use little 3M hooks, making sure it's like a 3-pound, because the wreaths aren't heavy, but they will give over time. So this will actually help keep it a little bit more secure. All right, well, I hope you found this tutorial helpful and you enjoyed making your Hello Spring kit. And if this was your first time, hopefully you'll join me again in the future for a different wreath. And thanks a lot, and have a great day.